Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so our card tonight is the Hanged Man. And I know that can be one that's like, okay, I don't want to see that. But I will say I always am happy when it comes up because I know in my life there's something that has to go, and I am absolutely aware of that now, right? There's an opportunity to make some change here. All right, let's take a look at our tea leaves and see what they have to say. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And I thank you for everybody who has put up with this flu that we have had in this household. And shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My husband over there has been getting through it as well. We appreciate you all for being so understanding. And so if you wonder why my voice sounds the way it does, if I'm breathing a little more heavily, then that's why. I'm all stuffed up. Okay, let's see. Interesting. So I keep seeing on all sides here, we have this furnace right here. You can see the fire pit kind of in here, and the hearth or the fireplace over top. It could be also the furnace, as I said. We have kind of this little, it looks like a little gremlin. It kind of looks like a little TT up here. But it does look like a little gremlin kind of crawling about. We have a little serpent kind of down here. We have a wishbone right here. So a wish that will be fulfilled coming in soon. That's exciting. So I do think that, especially because when we see the furnace, the hearth, we know that this is kind of the most central aspect of your life. This is that thing at the very core that burns and keeps the fires going, keeps your passion going, the creative energy of your life. Quite literally just the electricity running through your cells, keeping you moving and thinking and existing in this body, this earthly body. But I do also think that there is a sense of home and togetherness, and maybe quite a yearning for that to return to a place where it is the focus. Sometimes, and we all do this, we get kind of pulled one way, another way, this way, that way. We're busy, we're working, we're trying to, make ends meet. We're trying to maintain all of our things that we have to for the home and family and social life, if you have one. I don't know what that means, but I forget what it's like. But if you do, bless you. But this is also a lot of work. It's not an easy thing to have other people in your life. And so, I think that there is a sense of just a lot going on and a deep yearning for return to maybe simpler times, maybe in this kind of an impulse of minimizing how many things you have going, how many responsibilities. Maybe sitting down, writing that priority list. A lot of times we can think, I don't need to make a list. I know what I have to do. But when we sit down and we really look at all of the many things spread out over, a month, the period of a month, how many different things are you doing and responsible for, and how many of them are absolutely, of essence, right? But how many of them do you must do, right? So I think it is sometimes important for us to kind of write the things down and think, okay, what can wait? What actually am I still doing or a part of that doesn't really interest me anymore? Maybe this is something I've been going through the motions for a while. Maybe this is a good time to take a break. Allow yourself a little more time. Okay. And now that little, this little one here. And I do feel like there is even a sense of mischief in the home. And this is very akin to kind of that fae energy, the kind of little trickster energy, things going missing, nothing big. Okay. I'm not talking about, somebody stealing from you, but I mean, you're misplacing, your socks, or the socks are disappearing. Maybe they're in the washer, in the inside of the washer. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're in the inside of the dryer. Maybe they're not. They might be in a different dimension by now. But you do have these little oddities kind of popping up. And then we have down here that snake. And I feel like the snake really is a sign of being acutely aware of how you're feeling. There's a sense of abrupt knowledge having to do with self. This is in the emotional zone here on the incline of the bull. So when I see this and I see its placement, it's kind of like, this is the example I give. It's when sometimes at the end of the day, I'm one of these people, I take 2 showers a day at least. But I have to before I get into my bed. I don't know what it is about it, but I need that grounding, right? That is what it is. I know that that's my place to kind of wash away the stress of the day. Well, sometimes I get in there. I've had a long day, I've been busy. I know that maybe my body hurts a little bit, but not until I get into that hot water, and all of a sudden my body just kind of, I make a loud sound, and I realize how much stress I have been carrying all day long. And it's only built up, as the baby gets more tired, as, I'm more tired, and we're scrambling to get things done, put away, and everybody happy and tucked away for the night. And you get in there, and all of a sudden you realize, I don't feel as well as I imagined. But now I'm letting go of a lot of the stress, and I'm feeling a little bit better. And I feel like this is very much this snake energy, where it's like all of a sudden you just realize, like, man, things have been a little much for a while. I maybe have been managing it pretty well, but I'm looking at this with like very clear and open eyes, and I'm thinking, okay, something's got to give here, because I have too much on my plate. It is time for me to have a little bit of a reprieve from some of this stuff. And so it is, right? And this is always a good time of the year, in these moments where we are switching into a new season. When this comes out, it will be the spring or fall equinox, okay? Fall or spring equinox. I was thinking maybe it's the eve. No, right now is the eve of it. So it is a good time to kind of, as we say, do some spring cleaning, do some fall cleaning, okay? Declutter the life a little bit. Allow yourself a little bit of time for you. And this is a big thing too. Making time for yourself where you don't feel like you have to be productive. How many of you, and I know there's a lot of you, how many of you, decide, okay, I'm going to do some rearranging so I have this me time, I have a little bit of a break, and you get to that point, and next thing you know, you're like, wow, I could sit down and read my book or whatever, but I also have a lot of laundry I need to fold. Or now that everybody's out of the house and it's a little more quiet, maybe I can, I don't know, what's something, clean the freezers out. Doesn't sound, like me time, really. Although some of us, right, that our chores are really one of the only times we get to be alone. Nobody wants to bother you while you're doing chores. They might end up having to do some too. So I get that. But it's important to find some time where you're not having to be productive. Don't let yourself. Absolutely. Don't let yourself. You're being productive, I guess, is how I should say. You are being productive because you are allowing yourself the ability to rest, to find some leisure. And leisure is important. Don't get it mixed up. It is. It's important for us to have time for things that we enjoy, things that aren't too overwhelming, things that inspire us, right? So, I'm looking at this and I think this is really that energy that we have for that Hanged Man. It is. It's getting rid of some of the things that don't work out. They're just not. You don't have, we might have 24 hours a day. We cannot optimize every minute of every day, unfortunately. Okay, let's see. Now, I keep looking at this and I keep thinking of like almost like a Goya painting. And if you've never seen his work, go look at his work. It's beautiful. I'm especially fond of his black period, and I think that's what it's the black paintings, which were actually frescoes technically, and that is they were painted on walls of his barn, I believe, and they took them out and put them in a museum or whatever. Or maybe they were collected privately. I don't know exactly, but it reminds me of kind of like a feast, right? Some kind of gathering of, and this looks like a goat to me. And this looks, I don't know, maybe another goat here. But we also have this beautiful image of a person kind of in this devotional posture, holding up, and it looks like holding maybe flowers above their head, and it is quite beautiful. And so we have a goat here and we have a goat here, and maybe some kind of I almost think of maybe like a bowl of food or something like this, but I do feel like this is something akin to maybe a fertility or harvest festival. So in the spring we have a lot of these fertility, kind of like the May Day, and I don't know, there's a lot of spring things, but I think of like the Wicker Man, or something like this. Obviously not to that extreme, but some beautiful kind of theatrical playing out of these ancient rites in which, we give praise to whatever the pantheon is, or the shared mythologies, the mysteries, and the rites of spring or fall, if it is the harvest festivals. And so, to promise for, or at least to appeal for, to the gods, to God, to goddess, to the land, for a successful planting season, that the crops should not fail and everything will thrive in the way that we need it to, so that, yes, when we get to that harvest, there is something there to harvest, and that is something that will sustain the collective through that kind of dark period of the winter. So, these are things that are ingrained in us. We might have access to a lot of, foods, I say that loosely, that, are already kind of made for us and such. But, we're not too many generations. I mean, very, very few generations separated from having to get, source most of all of our foods, and things that we used for household products and so on and so on. So we are still very close to these cycles. You maybe don't think about them as much. I think even it depends on where you live. Where I grew up, we had kind of seasons, not like where I live now. Here are very pronounced seasons. Where I lived in California, I'm from Northern California. Most of the time I lived in the valley. You could not tell the difference between seasons, barely. And in where I'm now, up in the northern Midwest, it's very, very apparent. And my mind body flows along with it. There is definitely cycles, right? And so I feel like you really are in this place where I think if this is not usual for you, I think that you have kind of developed into one of these people who really do keep track of the seasons, of how the moon cycles make you feel. Maybe you are even so enlightened to the way of things that, for the next, I think we have about, when this comes out, I think there's about 4 more days that in North America, due to the state of the moon, is a good time to be planting things. Now, it depends on your zone, right? But it is an auspicious time to be planting, to be putting your seeds, or if you are somebody who, grows seedlings and things, and then you plant. This is the time to begin. And so, but whatever it is, I think that you are very acutely aware, more than maybe ever. And so I feel that this maybe is a wonderful time for you to start partaking in some tradition of your own. You maybe are interested in going into, the community that you live in, and finding some of the celebrations that will be going on. There's a lot happening, a lot of holidays. We're, I know, currently in Ramadan, and we have, of course, Easter coming up, and we have the equinox, and that is, on the day that this is coming out. So, I think I'm always a big fan of creating your own rituals, creating your own kinds of traditions. And if you are lucky and you have people around you, groups of people who are doing neat things and you know, coming together to celebrate these passages of time, I say go out there, be brave, go check it out. You know, there's a lot to, and if it's not your thing, then that's fine, you know. But I really believe it's so important for us to go out there and experience, you know, different kinds of like religious services and festivals and ceremonies and whatever you have is, you know, as long as they're open door and you are invited, go check them out. See what the world is doing. There's nothing more precious than being among people who are in a state of grace, who are sharing their faith and their fellowship. Doesn't mean you have to join or belong or, you know, and I'm definitely not naming any certain thing, as I am unaffiliated and, you know, I don't belong to any kind of system of anything. But I am somebody who really, really enjoys different kinds of ceremonies and rituals. So if you have the opportunity, I think that this would be a good time. Now, here's one that I saw when we first started here, and I thought, okay, we have an angel here, okay, beautiful angel, and here we have, I mean, quite a beast it looks like. You can see the legs and the body and the head up here, and so I feel like there is kind of this sense of, and I usually our words are a little more tame here, but if you can see, it's kind of like a F and then some dots, and then we have the Y, and I don't know if there's a OU maybe, but I do feel like there's this sense of resentment maybe really kind of gathering, and it feels like there is some situation in your life where you are fed up with somebody or some circumstance or dynamic or whatever it is. Maybe this is at work or in the home, because it is something that feels quite intense, and this isn't something just, you know, that happens with some random stranger, hopefully. But I do feel like this is like okay, something's got to be figured out between us. This situation is not working. There's a lot of just aggression, passive aggressive kinds of tit for tat, maybe sniping at each other. I just feel like it, you know, and it's growing into that resentment, you know, phase or level, I guess. And that's something that we really want to avoid, is getting to the point where, yeah, you start really, it's normal to dislike things about people that you love. I mean, we're human. We can't like everything about everybody all the time, okay? But when we get to a point where we absolutely just, it takes us off, you can't stand it, it's just annoying, every little thing starts to get on your nerves, and there's that growing resentment feeling. That is hard to come back from. So I feel like this is a place where a lot of prayer, okay? I do believe very much in the power of prayer. I think a lot of kind of communing with yourself. Also, if you are privileged enough to have access to a therapist, counseling, I'm not saying that this is something that's like your fault. This could totally be you reacting in a very reasonable way. But listen to me when I tell you, even so, you're the one that is going to have to carry the burden of being this annoyed, this angry, this resentful. The other person might have to deal with your anger and, realize that we're in a situation and it's uncomfortable and nobody is in a happy place right now. But nobody is going to feel it like you feel it. Okay, because it's your emotion that you are holding on to. So I think it's important to really be thinking about this stuff. Thinking about maybe this is why you need to take some time for yourself. Maybe this is where you need to really be kind of what you might even consider selfish, to alleviate yourself of some of your responsibilities. Take some time, be maybe on your own for a while, go be with some people that you love, go be with your family, maybe your sisters, your mom, your whoever it is, your best friends. But it has to be addressed before it gets just to a point where the damage is just too great, and then you're living in a situation where it's just two people that don't like each other anymore, and this doesn't have to be a significant other. This could be like your child even, or maybe your parent, or a roommate, or whoever it is. But I think it feels to me like this is a relationship worth working for. At least I feel like you have a lot of emotional what's at stake in this. You're invested, right? You love this person in some way. So I think really it's like you got to do yourself a big favor here and take some time. Take some time. Okay? And disengage. Don't do the fighting if you can. Don't do the fighting. Okay, let's see. Yes. All right, let's take a look over here. What do we have? We have a little heart. We have a little heart. We have a little sword. So I almost kind of see you like getting all dressed up for something important. It feels like maybe some kind of like maybe a wedding, or some kind of maybe a christening, or I'm trying to think what else. Maybe like a good night out, where you have to like really, wear some nice clothes, feel good, feel really good about yourself. And I think that this is something that is going to bring some joy to you. I think that this feeling of kind of being reunited in a joyful circumstance, this is something you're looking forward to. Now, with the sword, we do have this kind of something to be figured out, right? There's some aspect of maybe you have to figure out how you're going to get some time off so you can go do this thing, or whatever. I think it's important to do some planning here, making sure that everything is kind of situated. I'm talking to a Sagittarius, so I know you all are planners. You're not just gonna wait till the last minute. Hello, baby. Hi, Titi. And so, yeah, I think there's some real good energy here. And as I said that, I saw there's some pretty little flowers right here. And as we said, we have that wishbone. So that's good too. I forgot about that. So there's the wishbone and the sense of the universe kind of really working with you towards whatever you are interested in doing with yourself, whatever your wish is. And I feel like this is just, I'm looking at this, it looks like there's a person like holding a waiting tray, and this other person like kind of like maybe the boss over top of them. And I feel like it's just, and then we have this kind of, it looks like a tower. Yeah, and I'm thinking, as I look at that, it's just, I feel like this is like a very kind of domestic situation where maybe there's like some inequality in like the labor at home, or something along these lines where you're doing a lot, you're taking the brunt of things on, and it's not working anymore. It doesn't make sense with how everything is and scheduled. It's not a fair divide. So nothing will lead to resentment quicker than that, will it? Yes. Something to be definitely, I say, take a break for a little bit, and then, write down your points, the things that you need to talk about, and get kind of a level head about it, and then go in there for some communication, right? And if it needs to be mediated, that makes sense. Sometimes we need kind of a third party in there helping, kind of keeping us from going into these kind of emotional outbursts. Well, if you are like me anyways, I sometimes need a little reminder that I'm a little too in my emotions about these things. So, yeah, yes. So, let's see. I'm going to take a little sip. TT. I apologize. My throat is very dried out. Very dried out. Okay, so we have these gratitude cards, a little deck of appreciation. And they're very cute. Just little tiny ones. And then we're going to flip through, stop where it feels right. Enjoy the routine. It may not be exciting, but it means everything is flowing smoothly. No, that is the opposite. Well, if we could get to that point, right? I'm not there yet with this reading. Well, we're going to put that one on pause, okay? That's the next step. We'll go ahead and do this one. What is this? We have a stag and this woman, this person. Unplug. Avoid negative media and people for an entire day. There you go. These two go together. First this one, then this one. First unplug, then figure out how we can enjoy the routines of our life, which is like pretty close to enlightenment if we can really get into the things that we're doing. Okay, sweetheart. Okay, Sagittarius. You want to say goodnight to them? Will you do that? The outro? She says no. Sagittarius, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it does help the channel so much. And if you have not, if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, TT. Tell them good night. We love you. Good night. Happy equinox. And here's to a wonderful new cycle for all of us. Good night.